Hello gamers, Muglet here, and today we are doing another episode of I Tried. I was looking at which classes have really grown to love the Spears edition that was added in Janthier Wilds, and one such class is the Virtuoso. The damage-dealing Virtuoso, many of them have taken to using the Spear all the time in their build. In PvE, I see them in my groups all the time. So I was like, okay, well, you know what? I haven't tried this since Spear was added. Let's try it out, and I attempted to learn this build. My sources for information, just like with many other classes, this is not one I main, so I went to people that I consider to be smarter than me on this topic, and the list is long, let me tell you. And so I've got a few tabs open right here. So right here, we've got a Guild Gen guide on a build that is Dagger, Sword, Spear. We have got a Snowcrow's guide on a build that is Dagger, Sword, Spear. A Meta Battle guide that is Dagger, Sword, Spear. And I went to Hard Stuck as well, another popular source. However, they are using Greatsword. Actually, you know what? I'm as blind as a bat. It's right there. There we go. Okay, so me dumb. In any case, while I was going through this for the last few hours, I didn't see that. So I did not use this site at all for this experiment. But there we go. Okay, them smarter than me again. In any case, what was I using for this build? Unlike when I tried out Catalyst, the communities for this class can apparently agree on how to play it. They all have very similar, almost identical builds. So the build I ended up using for these experiments was Virtuoso Domination Dueling, and you can see the traits right here. These are the skills I used. And then over here, some of them use Scholar Runes, some use Dragon Hunter. I ended up using the one that was full Berserkers with one piece of Assassins, as well as the Dragon Hunter, the Scholar Runes with Force Accuracy on the Dagger Sword and Force Accuracy on the Spear with Relic of the Thief. I'll link all the guides that I referenced and talked about just a few minutes ago down below, so you get the more advanced details if you wish to do so. Now, what did I learn while playing this? I learned that I often start fights without charging my goddamn mantra. That is the first thing I learned. I think I remembered to do it on one single fight today. Very frustrated at that stupid thing. Okay, so what did I learn from doing this? So first off, I will beat on the dummy for a few seconds just to show I have a crude understanding of this, and then I'll talk about it. So here we go. We're starting off on the dummy, and we're gonna do 5 and 3, and we're going to use some of these skills, and weapon swap, and 2, and 4, and blast, and heal, and 5, and 2, and 4, and blast, and do this, and blast, and going to F1, and then F2, and then F4 for big damage. Weapon swap 5 and 3 at the same time, because they have the same cooldown, and use the utility moves, and blast, and do this, and 5 and 3 again, which reminds me to weapon swap back, and then 2 for heal, 5, 2, 4, and we're sitting at 37k right now. 37k. Now, as any of the people in many Guild Wars 2 communities will tell you, Mug is not the best at DPS. And I was able to, with a very short amount of time on this class, hit 37k on the dummy. That is pretty freaking cool. So I would definitely classify this class as pretty easy to dive in and get at least that amount of damage. So let me explain to you the scraps of knowledge that I have obtained during this session. I spent about 30 minutes to an hour practicing on the dummy, was able to get up to about 37k, after which I went and did strike missions with it, and I will show you essentially what I learned. First thing, all of these skills here, basically my 7, 8, 9, and 0 are all damage, okay? They're all damage. Couple of notes, when you use the heal, it will reset the cooldown on your Phantasmal Disenchanter and also your Phantasmal Lancer. So make sure those two are on cooldown. So for example, if I'm just going to hit those, so if I do those two and then I hit this, they are going to light back up. So make sure that they're on cooldown before you use the heal. When you start a fight, you want to start the fight in your dagger sword setup. You want to whenever you use the 5 or the 3, use them together. They have the same cooldown. So use the 5 and the 3, use one of your blade songs. Your F1, your F2, and your F5 are the ones that do the most damage. Your F5 does not have an animation. It's instant, which is very useful if you want to do 2 things at once sometimes, so that's worth knowing. The F1, the F2, and the F5 are damage. The F3 is CC. The F4 is a defensive tool. So you're going to use the 3 and the 5 together. When you weapon swap to the spear, you want to do 2 and make sure you hit them with the outer ring of it. 4, which will summon 2 clones instead of 1 clone if you do it after the 2. Use your heal to make the 4 pop back up, and then do 5, 2, 4 again. Okay, so 2, 4, heal, 5, 2, 4. Then stay in spear and do 2, and then you'll be here for a little bit, and then you'll do 2, 4, and then you weapon swap back to sword dagger. In sword dagger, you start by hitting 5 and 3, except you aim it at the freaking enemy. You'll start by hitting 5 and 3, and then do other things until 5 and 3 come off cooldown, then do 5 and 3 again, and then you swap back to the spear. Essentially, up here, again, anytime you get 5 pink pips, you do either the F1, the F2, or the F5, and you use these skills whenever possible, filling in the dead time. Defensive tools. You have got a few of them. You've got Distortion, which basically is a few seconds of almost invulnerability. You have got the block on Sword 4, and if you double tap it, it is a CC. And then with the Spear, your 3 is an evade, and also it heals you if you evade something, and it removes conditions from you. So both of your weapons have a defensive button, which is nice. It feels really cozy. I mean, I remember when I used to play Engineer build with Hammer, it was so awesome having the Hammer 4, which was a block, and you could use that to get out of certain situations without having to burn a dodge. Great Sword on Revenant has that same feeling as well. So this is really, really nice. So both of your weapon sets have a defensive tool. You've got another one up here if you wish to use it. I think I might have once today overall. And I was able to, within an hour of learning how to play this from nothing, get 37,000 damage per second. Looking at videos on Snowcrows, there is a sample video of someone getting 45k. So that's probably someone that's played this for a long time, has a lot more muscle memory than I do, and was able to, squeeze out even more damage. So the ceiling of the build is even higher than that, but it was good. It was good. It's definitely kind of button mashy. You are hitting a lot of keys. It does take a little bit of practice because you're kind of, I've said this before, but the whole Mesmer Shatter system is kind of like playing Subway Surfers down here in the corner. You're just doing there's like a whole separate mini game going on right here, but you keep an eye on that. You're doing the other thing, and then aside from glaring outliers, you're effectively doing like one rotation for one weapon set, a different rotation for the other weapon set, and once you memorize it, you can just do that for 90% of the situations. Utilities I was using, I showed them earlier, but Mantra of Pain, need to remember to recharge this before boss fights. Rain of Swords is just damage, Phantasmal Disenchanter is damage, and Thousand Cuts is damage. Now, I've said the following before, Mesmers and Guardians have some of the best toolboxes of skills in the game. There is some really cool stuff in here that you can use that is nice for various fights. So if you are doing certain encounters and you need feedback or something like that, I believe you would swap out the Mantra of Pain for the thing that you need. You would keep the other two things because they do more damage. Moa Signet, yep, if you needed huge CC for a fight, a Signet of Humility, aka the Moa Signet, is absolutely massive CC, and you could take that instead of Thousand Cuts for a fight if your group is let's say you're in a group, they wipe because they didn't have enough breakbar damage, you could just swap that out for the next attempt and then swap it back afterward. It is, huge breakbar damage on a 60-second cooldown. Very, very good. And yeah, I mean, also I had 18.8k health with a food buff, with the Jade Core in full Berserker plus one piece of an Assassin's gear. We had 18.8k health, felt pretty sturdy. I had a defensive tool on every weapon set. It felt nice. I don't remember if I talked about CC or not. CC that I had was the F3, which the amount of CC it has was based on how many pink pips we had stocked up, and the double tapping the 4 key, one tap of the 4 with the sword is a block, hitting it again is a CC. And I believe there was a combo. I never used it in the heat of the moment, just because of my own learning this class. But if you do 2 and then 5, it's a CC with the spear. With the spear, the 2 empowers your next move, and the 4 hits like a truck. So usually you do 2-4 and for tons of damage. But if you do 2-5, it's a CC if you ever need one more. But that's it. I think that's it. It felt good to play. It was pretty easy to get into, even as someone who doesn't main this class and has hardly played this class with this weapon since the beta, was able to get 37k pretty quickly, as long as you have the gear, and I did use the food buff. What did I use? I used bowl of sweet and spicy butternut squash soup and a superior sharpening stone. That's what I used. And yeah, this is just sharing my experience. If anyone is really interested in this, it was pretty easy to do. And it was cozy at the same time because you had defensive tools and that was nice. But aside from, you know, just huge damage, you're not bringing a lot of other, you know, boons or anything like this. I was just playing the DPS, the greedy damage version of it, and it did the job. In almost all the strikes, you know, it was a pug, and, you know, pugs vary greatly, but in almost all the strikes, I was very much up there on damage, despite the fact that I had an hour of time on this class. But yeah, with that, if you have any questions, problems, thoughts, concern, or further tips, put them in the comment section down below. As always, this is an I Tried episode, not a guide episode. I'm just sharing my experiences and what I learned, and I will have links to the builds below the video if you want to copy from the masters. And yeah, comment section, I'll fight you there.